Danielle Johnson never forgot the sound of those words. The clearance rack is in the back. Because they weren't just words. They were daggers dipped in condescension. Spat out by a saleswoman who thought she knew Danielle's worth the moment her eyes landed on her brown skin and casual blazer. It was a heartbeat moment that froze the entire luxury boutique in silence, Malik's little hand tightening in hers as if even her son could feel the sting of humiliation. And Danielle, who had walked into that store simply wanting to buy a birthday gift for her sister, felt the weight of every time she had been underestimated, overlooked or dismissed, pressed into her chest like a stone. And while her first instinct was to whirl around, grab Malik, and storm out, she forced herself to stand still, breathe slow, and remember who she was, not just a single mom scraping by, but a woman who had clawed her way out of poverty, built a tech startup from her living room couch, and turned it into an empire big enough to put her name on corporate boards. And though she didn't flaunt her success, it was hers earned through grit and sleepless nights. Yet here, none of that mattered because to this saleswoman, Danielle was just another black mother trying to touch things she couldn't afford. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and watch till the end because this story is about to twist in ways you won't believe. Danielle leaned down to Malik, who whispered, "Mama, why's she talking like that? We didn't do nothing." And Danielle whispered back, "Because some people don't see what's real, baby. They only see what they want to see." And though her voice trembled, her resolve did not. The saleswoman, growing bolder with the silence, stepped closer and muttered loud enough for nearby customers to hear, "You people always wander in here thinking you belong, but let's be realistic, ma'am. This isn't the kind of store for you." And with that, two women giggled behind a rack of handbags, one whispering, "Figures." And Danielle's face burned, not from shame but from rage, the kind of rage that carried memories. Memories of being a teenage mother kicked out of prom, memories of college professors doubting she could handle computer science, memories of landlords showing apartments to others after seeing her skin color. Her heart pounded so hard she almost missed Malik's soft voice again. "Mama, let's just go." She could have walked out, but if she did, Malik would take away a lesson she refused to teach him. That silence is the price of peace. That dignity must be swallowed in public so survival can exist in private. No, tonight her son would learn a different lesson. Danielle straightened, looked the saleswoman square in the eye, and said coolly, "Get me your manager." The smirk widened on the woman's face, as if she had won, as if she was summoning reinforcements to run Danielle out. But Danielle stood still, her nails tapping her phone in a rhythm that said patience was running out. The manager arrived, Mr. Holloway, slicked back hair glistening under the boutique lights, Rolex flashing as if it was his badge of authority, and without asking a single question, he launched into the speech he had rehearsed 100 times, the kind of speech dressed up in policy but sown with prejudice. "Ma'am, we reserve the right to limit access to merchandise if we feel clients are misrepresenting their ability to purchase." Danielle almost laughed at the irony, because in her bank account sat more zeros than his paycheck would ever dream of, but instead of laughing, she let him finish, nodded as if considering his nonsense, then quietly dialed Mr. Carter. Holloway chuckled under his breath, clearly thinking Danielle was calling a relative to complain. Maybe even the police, and a couple of customers muttered, "This should be interesting." Minutes later, the boutique atmosphere flipped like a switch when the mall's regional director stormed in, trailed by assistants, his face pale as chalk. And moments after that, an even bigger presence arrived, the mall's co-owner, a tall man in a navy suit, breathless from rushing over. Customers craned their necks. The saleswoman's smirk evaporated. Holloway suddenly sweating through his tailored shirt, and Malik's eyes widened as he whispered, "Mama, they know you." Danielle finally let the faintest smile creep across her lips, turned to Malik, and said loud enough for everyone to hear, "Baby, they don't just know me, they work for me." Gasps rippled through the crowd like thunder across a stormy sky, and for a moment the boutique was silent, save for Malik's awestruck whisper, "Mama, you own this place?" Danielle chuckled softly. "Not just this, son. The whole mall." But the story didn't end there, oh no, because justice is sweetest when it lingers, when it forces those who doubted you to stew in the irony. Danielle requested seats and ordered Holloway and the saleswoman to sit in their own boutique chairs while she stood over them, calm as a judge, laying out not anger, but truth. "Do you know how many times I've been told I don't belong?" she asked, voice steady. Do you know how many mothers like me working 3 jobs, raising kids alone, are treated like their money isn't green enough? Customers leaned closer, some nodding, others fidgeting with guilt. She turned to the crowd. How many of you laughed? How many of you said nothing? One by one, faces dropped, eyes looked away. Malik squeezed her hand tighter. She leaned down, whispering to him, "Always remember, silence is agreement. Don't ever stay quiet when you see wrong." Then, in the ultimate twist of poetic justice, Danielle signed paperwork right there in the store, documents that transferred oversight of the boutique directly into her hands, and with one calm order to the corporate owner beside her, she had Holloway and the saleswoman terminated on the spot. Security escorted them out as whispers filled the boutique, and one sarcastic bystander, the comic relief, a man sipping overpriced coffee, muttered, "Well, that backfired," earning a ripple of nervous laughter. But Danielle didn't stop at firing them. Over the next 30 minutes, she turned the store into a stage for justice, inviting the customers who had watched silently to step forward and explain what they saw, some apologizing to her and Malik, some breaking down in tears over their own silence. She announced plans to convert part of the mall into a mentorship program for single mothers and minority entrepreneurs, vowing that no child would have to see their parent humiliated like Malik had. And as she spoke, more staff and bystanders gathered until the boutique felt less like a store and more like a courtroom, Danielle presiding as judge, jury, and redeemer. In the climax, she leaned down to Malik once more, saying, "This is what owning your story looks like. Don't let anyone write it for you." The crowd applauded, some recording on their phones, videos already racing across social media. The final irony? Within hours, hashtags trended. Headlines read, "Single mom owns mall after racist encounter," and Axiom USA made sure her story became more than a viral clip. It became a lesson carved in stone, that racism will humiliate you, but resilience will humble it right back. And when Danielle walked out, hand in hand with her son, golden sunlight washing over them, Malik grinned and whispered, "Mama, today was better than a superhero movie." And Danielle smiled. "That's because, baby, sometimes the realest superheroes don't wear capes, they sign checks.